Game Plus.
We forgot the clapper.
I did forget the clapper. I haven't got one yet. Oh, man. So we're back.
There we are, yeah.
And it has been a wild couple of weeks, has it not?
It has been. It has been wild. We redid the whole store.
Yes.
So if you haven't been by in a while, stop by and be amazed at the organizational powers.
So what happens when 3 grown adults put their heads together? You'd be amazed what happens. But also a special shout out to Caitlin, who was also a big help with all of this as well.
Yeah.
But new store, completely new store. Everything is all redone. Our set's a little different.
That's right.
Took us much less time to set up today.
Yeah, it's a lot less cramped. You know, if you've been watching before, you can see that John and I were like knee to knee in our previous episodes. So
we got much more space.
Yeah, it's a little more comfortable.
And we got a beautiful sign.
Very nice sign.
We're very official now.
Yeah, we got some lights there. Yeah, it's very nice.
This is Brendan's den. Like, this is where, if you were to come into the store, this is where Brendan lives.
Right here. Yeah, the Game Boy. The Game Boy display.
There's some good stuff in that display. We'll give you guys a little bit of I took some behind-the-scenes footage, so you get a little bit of a tour of the store. So we'll insert it as we're talking now. But this place looks fantastic. Where are we located?
We are in Kingston, New Hampshire. So 160 Main Street, Unit D as in Delta. Open Tuesday through Sunday, closed on Mondays, but 11 to 7. Stop on by.
Absolutely. This place is amazing. And like it was cool before, but now it's like it's just like amazing now. It's like you can see all around the store and everything's just so it's like cool. Like your eye just wanders. Now you get like a full glimpse of like all the awesome stuff that's in this place. So it has been a wild 2 weeks.
It has been, yeah. But as you can see behind John, if you're looking at his camera, all the games, loose games are now one place right behind him. It's a nice little corner.
It's so much better here.
It really is.
It's so much nicer.
Yep.
And it's good to front load this sort of topic that we're going to have today with some positivity. So
yeah, there's not going to be much.
It's gonna be hard. Brendan, what are we talking about today?
We're going to talk about the rise and fall of Blizzard Entertainment. Yeah, a heavy topic.
Yeah, this one stings a bit.
No.
Yeah.
What was your start with old Blizzard?
My start with Blizzard was on the Super Nintendo. A little game called Blackthorn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Old school. Blackthorn is still like one of my favorite sort of side-scrolling action games. Did you ever play Blackthorn?
I did not, no.
Okay, so Blackthorn was cool. Blizzard developed that one, and it's cool. It's like an apocalyptic future, and like you play like this hero, and you can like hide in the shadows. That was one of the big things about this one, is like you could hide in the shadows and enemies will shoot at you, and you let go and you like aim and you have like a shotgun, and you can like roll, and you're basically just solving puzzles and getting keys and going into the next like level, and it's very, very challenging. Like a password save, so like if you mess up you have to start the whole level over. That was like my first like hurrah into Blizzard Entertainment, and that game is just phenomenal. And then of course Diablo 1 for the PC, because I am that old, playing that when it came out. And I can't even begin to express like how much that game changed my whole outlook on gaming forever. That game was so huge for me back in the day. Like the music, the atmosphere, that game was just like, anytime I hear that guitar, that acoustic guitar still to this day
from Tristram.
From Tristram, it's like, that game is still atmospheric now, like 30 years later. Oh, as it was then.
Yeah. It's interesting though because Diablo was, I mean, it's Blizzard, but it was really a whole different company that
Yes.
made
Yep.
Diablo versus Lost Vikings or Warcraft or whatnot.
Yep.
But it fits so cohesively into their whole like I always saw them as like very similar. Like you look at the old Warcraft manuals, you look at the
Yeah.
old Diablo manuals, and it's like these are really made by different, groups of people. But
Yeah.
because Blizzard North only did Diablo and then Diablo 2 and the expansion. I think that's the only games they made before.
Yeah, before they finally just merged into like one company or something. Because
Yeah,
it was like, what
yeah.
was it, like Blizzard North or something?
It was
like
Blizzard North, yeah. And I think it was because they were in like Northern California. It wasn't like,
that. Yeah.
I don't know. I know a little bit about the history of Blizzard, but yeah.
I think it's good to front load. Yeah, like you're saying, give front loaders with like the fond memories. Because like talking about it now, it's just like thinking about all these games. Like, what was your first Blizzard game?
Warcraft.
Warcraft.
I started with
Nice.
Warcraft, yeah, and I was absolutely blown away. And then Warcraft 2, I was like, this is even better. Like, this is insane. And then, yeah, that was like my probably teenage years were playing a lot of Warcraft, StarCraft, Warcraft 3, Frozen Throne, like
Yeah.
all the way up through like even like early World of Warcraft. I was still 100% like Team Blizzard.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's funny because like trying to think back to when the wheels started to fall off the bus with them was I would say Diablo 3 was probably the I feel like they could do no wrong up until Diablo 3 came out.
Yeah, but even then it was still just wobbling. You know, it wasn't the, I guess, train wreck that it's become at this point.
Yeah.
Like Diablo 3 wasn't great, but World of Warcraft was still going strong. StarCraft 2,
Oh, StarCraft 2.
which, people are extremely, yeah. I mean, it's hard to even like not be a disappointment to StarCraft. Like it was
Yeah.
such a titan of that genre. It's
Yeah.
perfect, really.
Yeah. Yeah, StarCraft is tremendous.
Oh yeah, it's a great game.
Yeah. Yeah, StarCraft is oh man, like it's what's funny is like thinking back on like the trashing that we have to throw. It's like really hard like when we're front loading this and I'm thinking back, I'm like, man, there's so many good ones. There really haven't been as many bad ones. I just feel like the bad that they implemented has been so detrimental to what their future is and what their present is that it doesn't ruin the past by any stretch of the imagination. It just makes me look back on that more fondly. But their track record isn't so bad now that it's like you're like, oh, Blizzard has always been terrible. It's like, no, Blizzard's.
Oh yeah, no, I mean that was.
I think that's what makes this so hard. Honestly,
It does, yeah. I think that's really what bothers people so much about what Blizzard has become is that we were so fond of it.
Yeah,
Like probably hundreds, if not thousands, of hours sunk into these games. Not even including like World of Warcraft. Like if you just played Warcraft 2 BNet and StarCraft and Warcraft 3, like with your boys, like that's years of my life
Yeah,
just sunk
same.
into it.
yeah, same.
And you get attached to, the story, and you could tell that they cared.
Yeah,
And I think that's really where the downfall like hurts the most as a gamer. Because on one hand, you're realistic and you're saying these people are there to make money. Like, they're not, it's not a charity, video games, whatever. Like they need to turn a profit. But on the other hand, it's like you got loot boxes and paid battle passes on full price games.
yeah,
And it's just the worst of the worst. You have psychologists on retainer trying to figure out how to get people as addicted as possible. And it's a betrayal is what it feels like to
yeah.
people who grew up with Blizzard as, this can do no wrong. Like it's very rare that there's studios like that.
Yeah, yeah, and it's exactly what you're saying. Where it's like when you say bringing on like a psychologist to try to manipulate people, like that's real.
Yeah, oh, 100%.
Like they have a guy on board who started with them and with Activision and has been implementing these sort of gameplay tropes and systems that are being developed with a lot of modern games now. have adopted that. I think he started it with like as far back as like Destiny, and I think maybe even a little bit before that. But I don't remember the gentleman's name.
Yep.
But he has been solely responsible for some of the worst tropes in video games the past decade.
Right.
And it sucks to see it implemented into Blizzard. Like, I don't fault Blizzard for the auction house thing with Diablo 3. That was a big bad step for them. A lot of people got soured on Diablo 3 because of the auction house.
Yep.
And Diablo 3 had some really bad problems when it first started. Like, you just couldn't play it.
Right.
There was like a good couple weeks where that game was just unplayable because of like errors and server issues. But once they got that sorted, I honestly didn't mind the auction house that much. I thought it was a cool idea.
Yeah.
And I thought it was cool that, like, if you were someone who took advantage of it and you could actually make real life money out of it as a gamer, like you could
Right.
sell pieces of equipment to people. And I thought that was a neat idea, but it was so poorly received that they scrapped it entirely, and they just decided to refine a few of the systems in Diablo 3. And I think Diablo 3, probably like the third best game in the series, is still a good game. Like, what it turned out to be was really good.
It ended up as a good game.
And it had a great story.
Yeah.
The story in the third one was really good. And I remember, like, even when I heard rumors of the fourth one, that I was like, the third one ended like so kind of definitively, like as far as that story went. I was like, what are they even going to do as a story? And
that never stopped. I mean, Diablo 2 ended pretty
It did.
definitively, and they still somehow
They did manage to
somehow
pull it out,
Diablo
though.
returned.
Yeah, the third one had a good. I think the story in the third one was really cool, and especially the way it ended. The third one had such a good ending, and then you've got the fourth one, which really has been the bane. It was like the final nail in the coffin. There's a couple things before that, but Diablo 4 is kind of the final nail in the coffin of people's like trust and enjoyment of them. So
Right. Well, I mean, we've gone over sort of the good times, I guess, where Blizzard was putting out 10 out of 10s, could do no wrong.
Dude,
and
so
then
many.
we're saying, yeah, the auction house is probably the first stumble that they had. And then
I still have friends who talk about that. Like,
Oh, yeah.
who still talk about Diablo 3, the auction house thing, as like their initial impressions, that they never even went back to it after that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's their impression of Diablo. They didn't even really play it because of that.
Right.
So
I didn't go back for a while, at least until like the it's not Lord of Destruction, that's Diablo 2.
Yeah.
But
it's like sitting right over there.
I
on the
know
shelf,
that's
too.
what's driving me insane. I know I can go and look at
Yeah.
it. It's probably why I don't remember. I don't have to, but I didn't try it until like a lot of stuff was added, and I was like, this is a good game. You know, they did it pretty well. But then they did Warcraft 3 Reforged.
I never played that because I heard it was so bad.
Ooh, not only is it horrible, but it destroys if you have Warcraft 3. So you can't play like ladders that Warcraft 3 had and everything else like that. It basically overwrites a good game.
Oh,
with
you
a
can't
poorly
even go
made
back to
one.
playing? What?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's rough. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Major misstep
What?
by Blizzard there. Yeah. They basically
man.
deleted an incredible game. Like,
And Warcraft 3 is an incredible
oh
game.
my
Like,
God. Yeah. Everything about it.
you and Tom and I were talking about this the other day, even like one of my like I wasn't a big WoW fan just because I don't like MMOs,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
I did follow like every time there was a cinematic for WoW, I would like watch it because I knew it was coming off of the lore, and like Warcraft 3 was like awesome. Like one of my favorite parts of that game was like you're just like this plucky paladin named Arthas who's like just out to do right, and you're a warrior of light, and you get fucking Frostmourne, and like it corrupts you. It's it's like the D&D thing where you get like a magical enchanted sword, and it like manipulates your brain, and you become like this awful thing, and he just becomes that cinematic where he walks into his father's throne room and he's like, "What are you doing, my son?" And he's like, "Succeeding you, father," and he just like, stabs him through the throat.
Yeah.
And you just see that bloody crown, and then it's like the end of Arthas, and like that whole storyline was so awesome.
Right.
So like even though I didn't care about WoW, like that cinematic where like the Wrath of the Lich King cinematic where it's just like him on the throne of ice and it cracks and it's like all the fucking Death Knights, and it was just like this awesome thing that carried over. And then So it like broke my heart because I was looking forward to like that redo of
Right,
3.
because it would have been awesome,
Yeah.
like going back with just slightly
Some
better,
enhancements, better graphics.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, you brought up a good point. That Blizzard was like the king of cinematics in an era where that was like
Always.
a big thing. I know
Yeah.
we've talked about how I'm not like a huge fan of a lot of cinematics, but I loved Blizzard like cutscenes.
Dude, Diablo 2 cut that.
Diablo, yeah, right at the end.
Yeah.
We're going to start spoiling stuff. So if you haven't played 20-year-old, 15-year-old games, skip ahead a bit. But yeah, when you figure out that he's not talking to, right at the end of Diablo
Yeah,
2,
he's talking to Tyrael.
and he's not, he's talking to Bale. Like, oh my, like.
Yeah, and it ends like terribly. Like the narrator of that whole game for you this whole entire time gets brutally murdered, and like Bale just walks out of his jail cell, taking the Soul Stone and burning everything around him.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
that's how that game ended.
Right.
And then the expansion had that awesome opening where it's just like him, just like,
Oh, yeah.
like that poor guy. Like he's like the, what do you call it? Like the speaker for like the house
Yep.
is coming out to like negotiate essentially with a demon, and the demon just kills him horribly,
Oh,
and
yeah.
just laughs and just sends his troops to destroy the town. Like their cinematics were always top, like
Everything.
Warcraft. Just always
yeah.
ahead of the game.
Ahead of the
Always.
curve, they did them absolutely perfectly, and that included like World of Warcraft, like the intro cinema to
Yeah.
World of Warcraft. Like even if you're not an MMO person, if you're a Blizzard person, you loved like
Always appreciated the cinematics for those. Yeah.
every single one is amazing during that time frame.
That's what makes this so hard.
It does, yeah.
I don't
because I
wanna
don't
trash
touch
them.
Blizzard games anymore. I can't remember the last time I played. I might have played Overwatch a little bit, and that was like the last.
Overwatch is Blizzard?
Yeah,
That's funny. I did not know that.
yeah. Overwatch was a Blizzard. game.
That's a game that totally snuck past me.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. But that was one of their, Blizzard's move is take a popular game and refine it and put a nice shiny sheen on it and put it out. And that was, Team Fortress 2, which is a better game, but it was okay. But yeah.
Yeah, then Diablo Immortal. Yeah, you want to talk about nails and coffins? Like Diablo 3 might have been a stumble. Diablo Immortal was I think that was really the beginning of, I think that was just like it's done.
Oh, yeah.
I remember seeing the press conference for that, and it's just like there was like audible boos, and
Yeah.
like their defense to it was, oh, you don't have cell phones.
Yeah.
It was like, no, nobody wants this pay to play crap.
Right.
And it was really just like Diablo Immortal was just like a reskin of another game anyway from like another company, and
Yeah, who had ripped off Diablo. They basically partnered with a Chinese company that was known for, shovelware and pay to win.
yeah.
Yeah, but is this not a season April Fool's joke? Is one of the comments from the audience at that BlizzCon. Yeah. And the funny thing is, too, it's kind of like a bad relationship or something, right? Because you're like, oh, this person isn't really that bad. And that's sort of how I think a lot of people viewed Blizzard for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they could do no wrong. They made Diablo 2. Like, that was the greatest game ever.
It's still one of the great here's where things get even like more confusing is like and conflicting is the fact that it's like of all the atrocities that they've committed the past like 5 to 7 years, like how do you manage to churn out a remaster of Diablo 2 and make it even better than it was originally?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Right.
And then a year later, Diablo 4 comes out and it completely just, it's amazing the unity of hate on Diablo 4.
Yep.
And I don't disagree with any of it.
No, I mean, it's Diablo 4 is that sort of accumulation of all that stuff we were talking about with.
It's predatory.
It is predatory. I mean, paying for early access is crazy.
Yes.
Having a paid battle pass and a full price game, and then having cosmetics that you can buy on top of that.
Yeah.
And then people will say, "Oh, it's not pay to win." It's like that's a big deal at that point. Like, it's pay everything else already.
Yeah.
I don't mind the paid battle pass model if you're putting out a free product.
I did that with, who did a great job of that? Mario Kart. the Mario
Yeah.
Kart 8 for the Switch. They
Right.
decided they were going to put out new maps. You could subscribe to the pro version of their online system, or spend a one-time fee of $25, and over the course of a year, they would release new maps. I was on board with that. And
Yeah.
they've delivered 100% on that.
Right.
And it's been fantastic.
Yeah.
But what I'm not going to do is spend like $60 on a suit of armor that does nothing, and like it's good for one character, and if you wanted another skin, it's like you have to pony up that other money. It's like,
Yeah. It's horrible.
it's so predatory, and like the game itself. Have you played Diablo 4 yet?
No. And I never will.
You shouldn't. I was really like, I was lukewarm on the idea from the get-go, just because I didn't know what the story was going to be. Because again, like I was just saying, like the third one really wrapped things up in a nice bow, and it put a good end to the series, I thought.
Yep.
So like the fourth one, I was like hesitant, because I was like, what this is? I didn't know what it's going to be. And then the opening cinematic is, of course, just amazing. The opening cinematic is absolutely astonishing for the fourth one. And the game looks beautiful, and it starts off really strong. But the more you play it, the more those predatory systems kick in, and the more you realize like nothing you're doing really matters. You know, you're not really getting tougher because the enemies are leveling up with you, and like you're just being given chores to do before you go to play the season 1 pass.
Right.
And then you have to do it all over again. You can't use your character that you made, and you have to do essentially the same thing over again and do all those chores all over again. So it's this weird pattern of like the illusion of fun and these mundane tasks that don't really do anything. You're just sort of grinding for the sake of grinding. Like
Right.
anytime I got a new piece of equipment, I was like, it doesn't matter. In 5 seconds, I'm gonna get something that's supposedly better, but none of these stats even mean anything
Or make any sense.
or make any sense.
Right.
I watched something where someone had listed out all of the
Modifiers.
and there was like 100 of them, and none of them make any sense.
Right.
And when you do the math on it, it makes even less sense, because it's just like, it's designed to be superfluous. It's like it doesn't matter. So why am I playing this?
Right. And that's like a balance that is very hard to strike, and Diablo 2 did it perfectly. Because there's people to this day who are still playing Diablo 2 and grinding out small charms or incremental upgrades on their gear.
Yeah.
But that gear upgrades, one, they make a difference, and two, they make sense.
Yeah.
You know, it's +1 skill level, or it's +10 strength.
Yeah.
Extra gem slot, whatever it is, you intuitively know what it does.
Yeah.
But when it's +1.7% to enemies in mid-range who are frozen,
Yeah.
like you don't, like, is that better than +2% crit to everything? Like, I
Right.
don't know. Where's my spreadsheet?
Yeah.
Like, anybody got, like, you need an Excel wizard to, like, figure out if it's even an upgrade or not, you
Yeah.
know? And all of that, the, like, mental load that you put on the player, like, and it doesn't even feel stronger. Like,
Yeah.
like, why do I want to sit there and do all this math to figure out if I'm better or not?
Yeah.
I should be able to just say, oh, this is better. Like, it should be intuitive to you as a player. Like, oh, this dropped. What is it? Oh, this is better. Let me throw it on. Feel good. Dopamine hit, you know?
Say what you will about Diablo 3 too, is like Diablo 3, as much as a lot of people still have like gripes about that game, Diablo 3 was a better version of what that is now, because Diablo 3 just kind of took 2 and made it a little more like action paced, and like the stats were like crazier, but they still made sense.
Right.
And like they stacked in a way that made sense, and like it was just like they just made it a little bit more like godly, like as far as like how tough you were, and
Yep.
you know that like it wasn't as like D&D where it's like you get like 1 point to attribute to something, where now it was just like you're really getting stronger through like the gear you get, but like at least the gear system made sense, where it's like you got something and you understood incrementally how much tougher you got, and you could see it on a stat that made sense.
Right.
Whereas like you're saying with Diablo 4, it's like so mundane and like inane that it doesn't, who cares? Like
Right.
I don't understand it, and it really isn't doing anything anyway, so who gives a shit? Like it's ugh.
And like I said, I haven't played Diablo 4, but I played enough modern games in the same. One other thing that drives me insane that you sort of touched on was, you're going to get something better right around the corner. It's almost like broken out the game where it's like, all right, you got a drop here at level 10. So at level 5, there's going to be guaranteed to be something better for this slot.
Yep.
Whereas in Diablo, it was before they, brought in all the psychologists and all the big data and analyzed the hell out of everything and figured it out. You might get a drop at level 20 that you don't replace until you're level 60.
Yeah.
Because it's just that good.
Yep.
The die were just,
Yep.
on your side, and it felt amazing to get something like that.
Yep.
But now you can't. It'll be, these are all capped at like +3 because you're only level 5,
Yeah.
to guarantee you'll get that little dopamine boost as you move forward.
It's
And
gross.
It's gross.
It's gross.
And it's insulting.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, it's not even like fun,
Yep.
Because it isn't that I want I don't want this, I want it to be random. That's where the actual good feeling from those kind of games come from.
Yep.
Is that this is it could have been anything, but it's awesome. Not just it is something and it's something.
I totally understand, and I totally agree with you.
Right,
That
yeah,
is so. That is exactly it. That's
It's
what made
horrible.
the first 2 games, and I will even say the third one.
Mm-hmm.
That's what made them so great. That is what it worked because, like you said, it's it felt random. It's you
Mm-hmm.
weren't always going to get the same thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'd get something and you're like, oh, that's awesome. I'm not supposed to see that for a while.
Right.
And then there was tiers of those weapons where it's if you knew it was X axe,
Mm-hmm.
but there would be tiers of those axe and you knew it was be a better version somewhere that
Right.
you might be able to get.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really, like you said, it's insulting and it's gross. And I think my first experience with it, because like you said, this is something we've been seeing for years
It's
now.
not just Blizzard.
No, it's not just Blizzard.
This is a problem all across modern gaming, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my first real experience with it was Destiny,
Yeah.
where, I played so much Destiny. I had a group of 2 to 3 friends I played Destiny with every night for I think we played it for 4 or 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just dawned on all of us at the same time that it's nothing we're doing really even matters.
Right.
And it's weird because you're playing this game that's just gorgeous. Destiny was a beautiful game, and it is. I still think it's the best controlling shooter. It is the best feeling shooter I have ever played.
Yeah, they did a great job on
It's
the
so
mechanics of it. Yeah.
Yeah, the guns feel amazing, and you get some really cool powers and weapons, but then it's nothing really would differentiate you from anyone else. You're all kind of chasing the same thing for your class.
Yep.
And how many more times am I going to do the same level and fight the same thing to chase a piece of equipment that's not really going to be much different?
Right.
And I think we all were sucked into it because that whole model to me at the time was relatively new and I hadn't seen it before. But once I kind of figured it out, I was like, oh, I see what we're doing here. And
Right.
that is what separated the people that fell off from it from the people who would do the same raids over and over and over again, hoping for that next thing. I was I get this now, and I
Yeah.
see how it's a weird wheel system where you're just going to keep doing it
Right.
if you haven't figured out how pointless it is yet.
Yeah, you take a peek behind that curtain and it just sort of,
Yeah.
you see all the devils are painted. It's not great. And I mean, hopefully these psychologists start figuring out that and start throwing in some more actual randomness to the
Yeah.
games, because having this sort of it just feels so lifeless at this point, everything I see about Diablo 4, it looks like an AI made a Diablo game and there's no soul involved in any of it, And I think that's part of us being human, is that there's imbalances, This guy has a really cool axe. He just got lucky. I don't have one, but if I keep playing the game, maybe I'll get lucky.
Yeah.
There's a feeling there, but if it's, this guy played 5 more hours than me, he has that axe, I just had to play 5 hours and I'll get that axe. And then I won't be special either. If everyone's special, no one's special.
Yeah, that is a really interesting way to put that, and I would have to agree with that. It's a whole new generation of gamers who just kind of want, like you said, it's the dopamine hit, and like you're just sort of looking for that fix. And if that's what you're into, cool, I guess. But
that's
I can't even, like, I don't want to say cool, I guess, because it's really not.
no.
I think it's odd that there's a whole generation of gamers that are going to grow up like in that weird manipulated mindset of gaming, and like that's what they're going to gravitate towards.
Right.
Is the weird manipulation tactics of predatory games.
Yeah. I mean, there are gamers now who that's really all they have known. I mean, if you start gaming at 4, this stuff's been going on at least a decade. So there's 15, 16, 18, 20-year-olds who have never known anything else but this hyper, analyzed, how do I get you to spend your money sort of thing,
Yeah.
Like my dad used to yell at me for stealing batteries out of the remote to play Pokemon. Imagine if I got a hold of his credit card and spent $1,000 on Fortnite skins. Like that's a whole, like I wouldn't be here. Like, it's ridiculous. And it's been normalized. Like I remember when Oblivion came out and there was the Horse Armor DLC and they were lambasted for even trying that. Like, we're going to pay $2 for some armor on a horse? Like, really? Like, no, get lost.
Yeah.
And now it's oh, you didn't buy this $30 skin so you don't look cool with your other friends? Like, you didn't earn that. Like, come on. Like, I don't know. Maybe we're just, we are old, but I think we're right.
We are old, but at the same time, like, there's like a decade between the two of us. And like,
Yeah.
if you're, I don't think it has, I think it's just, we're savvy and like self-aware, and we've been playing games religiously since we were like since I was in my single-digit age.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
I've been playing video games since I was like 6.
Yeah.
And I'm old as fuck. But yeah, like. It just makes me harken back to. I can't even say harken back because there are so many great games right now still being made that don't do this to people.
Yeah.
And you still can experience, like now more than ever, honestly, games that are designed to be challenging and fun and don't have these predatory models behind them. But I think it's like this new system that you're seeing more and more pop up that just sort of like, what's weird is like a good example to pick up is like Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yep.
That was a game that I was really into I put like a good 60 hours into it until I got to the point where I was like, I'm just doing the same quest over and over again now. And just to like level up so I can, but like I'm into the story
Yep.
and I like the world and I like what's happening, but I didn't even finish it because I got bored because I saw the gameplay loop. I was like, you lost me.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not even going to finish this now because I'm just, like, and then there was that game that also like a ton of like season stuff and buy these skins, do this thing. And I'm just like, you don't have to do it. But the fact that, like, once you get to a certain point, you're doing the same thing, and that's all it's trying to pitch to you, I'm like, you lost me. But
it takes you out of the world.
It does.
Like having this button or whatever to go to the shop. Like, it's like, no, I want to pretend to be an assassin in Florence or what. I mean, I fell off after number 4. So,
Yeah.
like, but I got that same thing. All Ubisoft open world games feel the same to me at this point. It's, climb this tower or this X and look around and all these little icons go everywhere, but it's all like the same. It's chores, really.
Yeah, and that's how Valhalla felt. And that was really my first, like, it was like I've played a couple Assassin's Creed games, realized they weren't for me.
Yep.
Like, never finished any of them. But, like, Valhalla was cool because, like, the story was cool. Like, I love the Viking concept. And the story was really good in that. And then, like, I just wanted to know the story rather than play the game just because I got bored with the game.
Right.
Because I remember going on the same quest. It's like, it was a different quest, but I'm like, I'm seeing the same people on the bridge that I did like 10 hours ago. It's like, it's the same quest, but it's just recycled and
Right.
like, this isn't like, you lost me. That's it. That's not fun.
Yeah.
But there's just like, there's so much of that going around right now, which I think, and I was talking to you about this a little earlier today, was what makes the game I'm currently playing feel all the sweeter, especially because they did a real twist of the knife fuck you to like other companies out there where they, at the beginning when you first play it, it's like Baldur's Gate 3, the new Baldur's Gate 3 is, it's astonishing. It's a revelation in gaming, and it's does something that they were doing like 20 years ago and managed to bring it and modernize it, and it's D&D rules, so it's like the best kind of fantasy world.
Yep.
And they managed to make all of the craziness of D&D playable and easy to control and figure out. It's so intuitive, and it also had with one of the best things when I first started that game is it's like, we believe games should be complete when they come out. We don't think you should be paying to win a game. Please enjoy this final complete game of Baldur's Gate 3 that we have spent years of time. Thank you for your patience. I was like, that is so insulting to other companies, and I understand why like so many companies got their panties in a bunch about like Baldur's Gate 3 because that game held itself to a standard of respecting gamers of any age in any era, and wanting to make something that was for the gamer and a complete game and an experience that you're not going to be. I haven't had. There is no buy this skin. There's none of that shit in that game.
Right, yeah, there's no.
Yeah, it's just enjoy this game.
All the shops take gold.
They take gold.
Yeah.
And they don't take fucking unobtainium that you have to buy for $20.
Exactly. Yeah.
That gives you like 9.99 credits when something costs 10.
Right.
Yeah. No, none of that.
Yeah, absolutely none of it. Yeah, it's on the list for me. I was a huge Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 person. Like, I loved that stuff growing up. I played D&D a little bit, excuse me, growing up. And yeah, I have the most respect in the world for those developers for putting out something like that. I mean, to do it as that big of a game, too. I mean, Tears of the Kingdom, pretty similar in a way. Armored Core did the same thing. There's no cosmetics. You just play online, play everybody. There's none of that sort of thing. So there are developers that do it, but for a game that's like the wheelhouse of like, oh, there's going to be a battle pass or paid whatever. Like you almost expect it in that. And for them to have the integrity and, just goodness, I guess, to not put that in their game,
not be scumbags.
Yeah, because at this point, people will put up with it,
Yeah.
Like Diablo Immortal, for how much everybody, craps on it, has made a shit ton of money.
It's insane that I played that game for like 5 hours just to see. And it's exactly what you would expect it to be. Like, you collect all these different resources. You can't buy this without this resource. Oh, you get so many of these resources free, but if you buy more, you can get more. And like, I watched some video where some guy actually did the math on how that works and what it takes to actually buy certain things, and it was like literally thousands of dollars to like become as tough as you could possibly be in that game.
Yeah,
like
I think
thousands of dollars.
I saw something similar. It was either $100,000 or $500,000 to max out one character.
It's insane.
What's insane is that somebody probably has done that because they're making millions of dollars. Like it's that's not what gaming is to me. But
and it's funny because like I know that they've had like internal issues with the company as well.
Oh yeah.
And I try not to fault an entire company for some of those certain things because, you can't hold an entire company and an entire business responsible for the actions of some scumbag who might be working there.
Right.
That should obviously be dealt with immediately and handled accordingly. But I think it's weird to boycott an entire company based off of something that a lot of people have nothing to do with. You know what I mean? Yeah,
you are hurting some people who weren't involved in that.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of the coin, there was a culture at Blizzard. Apparently, I never worked there.
No.
Spoilers. But there was a culture of sort of, this is a good old boys club. They had the Cosby room at the conventions, and
they just eat Jello pudding, and
I think it was like the
not so fun Cosby.
Yeah, the roofie Cosby. Yeah. I think I don't know. Again, plausible deniability there. They might have just like Jello and sweaters.
Spoiler: we never went there, so we don't know.
Yeah, right. No, I agree with you on like generally on that statement, but I also think that corporations do have some sort of responsibility to just be like, hey, this isn't like a frat house.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%, and that's why I say it should be dealt with internally and handled accordingly.
Yeah.
But it doesn't help that it doesn't help the matters that like they're coming off of that and then they're just going into like some predatory practice with gaming, and it's like it's not a good look, like coming off of something like that, and then it's just like, oh, now we're predators internally and now we're going to be predators externally with our gaming. Yeah. It's like it's not a good look.
No, not at all.
Yeah, it's I hate to say that, I don't want to say I'm like 100% done with Blizzard, but and it's so funny, like when we reminisce at the beginning of this episode and we talk about like the games that we love, and just thinking about those games gets me all, it makes me feel.
I want to play them right now.
Yeah, like all
shut
those
off
memories.
the cameras.
I'll play some StarCraft right now.
Yeah, I use Eric, Terran. What do you play?
I like all of them.
Yeah.
All of them are so much fun.
They're very good.
Yeah, they're all so different and fun. But yeah, man, like the way that they're like going into the future, and it's a weird, because it's like a totally different rise and fall than like Squaresoft.
Yeah,
which is another episode we could do. But it's like totally different in that it's not so much the quality of the games, that it's the way that they're manipulating the games to be designed a certain way so that it's predatory and manipulating towards the player.
Yeah.
That's a totally different animal than just like, maybe this game sucks.
Right. And that's not I know Square has like a big mobile division and stuff, so their hands aren't clean in that direction.
Yeah.
I mean, Squaresoft is like the rise and continual stumble, like constantly. Like, I don't know how they still make money. Like every once in a while they have a hit and like 10 really bad business decisions, but good for them. They're still going. But
I heard Final Fantasy 16 is good.
That's what I've heard too. But I mean, what was that? The one right before that came out where you're the magic girl.
Oh yeah,
from
the magic girl from the Bronx. That game was universally panned.
Yeah.
And I get why. From what I understand, like all the people are complaining about. It's like I don't need that. I don't want to see it in movies. I don't want to see it in a game where I'm just like being insulted as like a player. Or, like I don't need that, and I don't want it. I don't need some cardboard cutout character that's just insulting everybody.
Right.
I'm so sick of like the cynical kind of like treatment of like someone who's trying to just enjoy this piece of IP that you're making.
Right.
I think that's very strange that you're...
It's a bold strategy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, let's insult the player and make them feel like a loser.
Yeah. It's very...
Playing a game. Yeah.
It's not a good look.
No.
That's an equally bad look, I think.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, we could always talk about, because Square is very, very similar. It's like this golden dawning and then just, to this is horrible. Like, well, not as horrible as what Blizzard has turned into, because, like I said, I'm done. I'm done with Blizzard. I have been done with them for a long time at this point, years. Like, I don't know. It's just sort of, I just had to say, we had our time and see you later. Like, we're done. Like, it's not going to become what it was before, And I don't have enough nostalgia in me that you're, squeezing it out with, here's Diablo 4 with a battle pass. Like, no, get out. Like,
yeah.
But if you like Diablo 4 and you have fun, good. I'm happy for you. Like, genuinely happy. Like, I'm not going to judge anyone for what they do or what they enjoy. But me personally, no, I'm done with them.
That's fair. And I agree with that. I agree entirely with Brendan's sentiments, because, like, I like a lot of stupid shit.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't need to be judged or made to be feel inferior for the things that I enjoy.
Right.
Because I'm just going to enjoy them regardless. But
exactly.
I also don't support, like, this weird concept of predatory gaming and trying to manipulate customers into spending hundreds of dollars to enjoy a half-finished game or something that isn't even a full game, because it's just chores.
Yeah.
Like, if I want to do chores, I want to get paid for it and not, like,
right.
putting
That's
money
called
into
work.
It. That's called work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It's not rewarding. It's not fulfilling. It's not fun.
Right. Yeah. It's supposed to be like a sort of escape, or, like this is, the potential that you could be. You're not an office worker. You're a great barbarian, saving the world from the devil himself. Like, oh no, you're a guy that swipes a credit card, so your barbarian has like a little ruby twinkling on his head, and everybody knows how cool you are. Like,
so stupid.
It's messed up, man. It's the era we're in. Like, yeah, it's not great. It's not. Sorry.
Well, I mean, I don't feel like we can end this on such a dour note.
I know, right?
There's so much to enjoy right now.
There is, yeah.
Let's wrap things up on a more positive upbeat note. Like, I, for one, am enjoying the hell out of Baldur's Gate 3.
Mm-hmm.
I have a whole insane backlog of games right now to play. Like, I bought my I bought my Super Nintendo with a big old 36-inch CRT recently.
How's your back?
Oh, dude, that was so much fun to move.
Recovered yet?
Yeah, that was terrible. But yeah, like just even my retro catalog to play right now and go through and but like what's coming up? There's a new 2D Mario coming out in a few weeks.
Yeah, Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2 that's going to be amazing.
They've all been amazing. The last two Spider-Man have been...
Blasphemous 2 comes out in a week.
Yep, Blasphemous 2. Yeah, there's a lot good. I mean, I've been playing Armored Core. It's been a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. Wait, we talked about that a couple of, last episode. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can give the retrospective.
Yeah.
I really, really like it. I like I know you hate, or you don't hate it, but
I don't hate it.
You're stale on the whole mission thing. But I like that I can just like hop back into a mission and try to get a better score, or try to use like a different build, or just grind it out for some money so that I can buy more parts and keep progressing. I haven't beaten the game yet. I'm pretty close to the end. Probably like chapter 5 or 6. I'm not sure. But I've fought some of the big bosses that people complain about online. And honestly, for a From Software game, it's not that hard. You know? It's not like, no, I mean, it's not like, oh, here's a Nameless King from Dark Souls 3 and it's going to take you 50 tries to beat. Like, no, it's not that bad. Like, it's, 3 to 10, which is, if you're playing, From Software, like, that's nothing.
That is, you know what? That's a good point. Like, I would equate my boss battling experience to the same. It's like between 3 to 10 tries. That is, and that's funny because that's a lot of tries. But when you equate it to most other Souls games, that's really
it's not. Yeah, that's not. Like that's a tough enemy in a Souls game.
Yeah,
like that's the Black Knight right in the beginning. You're trying to like get around. Yeah, but no, I like it a lot. Just the style of it. The story is, I didn't expect much from a mech game about being a mercenary and blowing stuff up. Like, that's not what I'm looking for like story-wise. But I like it a lot. The gameplay is smooth as butter. Like, it feels awesome. Like, I like making my mech like as light and fast as possible. I'm zipping around just like, hitting people with laser swords and SMGs. It's so cool. It's a great game. Good. It scratches that whole, like, I want to be a
giant robot
blowing things up and committing war crimes. Yeah. It's like, I feel satiated from that. So
that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't hate it. I'm like stepping in and out of it. It's just like, it's like we talked about. It's exactly what I thought it was going to be, what we talked about in the last episode, where it was just going to be a shinier version of the same game I've been playing for 15 years now.
Right.
And if this is your first jump into it, it's a good experience.
It is. It's a great experience if you if you're into that and you haven't seen it. What Armored Core is this like actually? Like 15 really over all of the different ones?
Yeah,
like,
it's got to be close to 10.
I know there's a lot of like side Armored Cores that. Yeah, it's not actually 6. So when people are hearing you say this, it's not that you played 5 games before. Right. It's that you played,
Yeah, I've played a lot of Armored Core in my day.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and it's like, I've skipped every bit of the story, like just like these waveform comes. I'm like, yep, skip. Just get me to the next sortie so I can go to my next mission. But it's like, I don't know, it's okay. I think I'm just like, to me, like that whole experience would be much better if it was put into, and as much as I didn't really enjoy Elden Ring, I think it would be cool to take the mech system and put it, I know. I think but again, it's like because I'd played all of those games and to me it just felt like more of the same. So now, like, for me, taking elements of some of all of the same and mixing it up with a mech, like taking the mech element and putting that into Elden Ring, where it's like you have this whole big world where there's like different robots and factions. And
Yeah.
there might be this big robot over here that you can't fuck with yet because you're not tough enough, and
Yeah.
like fighting these little peons and getting tough and coming back to that and building your mech up. I think to me that would be a much more fun and interesting way to do that, especially if it was like, an apocalyptic weird hellscape that
Yeah.
of robots and corporations. I think there's so much more area to like put that into that, and I would find that much more enjoyable because like the mission based thing is just like it's just to me it's just kind of
Yeah, well, the interesting thing about Armored Core versus Elden Ring is that, like you say, upgrade your mech, but it's not really, like, I don't feel like I'm upgrading my mech when I get new parts. I feel like I'm unloading, like, different options,
yes.
Because, like, I could play with the mech that basically I started with, like, in Chapter 1, but in Elden Ring, like, unless you're one of those guys who's doing like the blindfolded playing with a DDR pad like thing.
Yeah.
Like you level up and this area is for level 20 to 30 and this like I feel like that would work really well with the Armored Core build out thing because it might be easier if you have the songbirds or the grenade launchers, but you can still do it with the starting, sword and assault rifle.
Yeah, or like getting into like an area that you might not be able to get into, like if you went in there guns blazing, but if you were to like snipe it out from a distance, I feel like that would allow for a much more versatile and interesting kind of gameplay than it is. And like I said, like this is just me personally because like I've been playing these games for like almost 20 years.
Right.
So you coming into Armored Core is exactly like I said it was going to be last episode. It's like it's probably going to be the best experience you can have with an Armored Core game.
It was really fun.
It is. Yeah. It's very polished. It controls well. It looks great.
Oh, it feels so good.
Yeah, it feels great. Yeah, and you can feel like the weight difference when you put something on. But for me, it's just like I've been playing this game for 20 years, and like not enough has changed in the gameplay department that I care about these little quality of life things. So to me, like it needs like an actual like substantial like reimagining. Yeah, and I feel like that Elden Ring system would be really cool and offers like something that we haven't seen ever because. Even if you're just recycling the Elden Ring sort of formula, like I haven't seen an open world mech game really that's not just like, hey, go do this mission.
Right.
Find X thing, kill X thing, and like there's no reason to really explore anything. I think it would be cool to like actually be rewarded for exploration and being able to maybe get cool parts for your mech that you wouldn't otherwise be able to. And I don't know, I just feel like that would be a much more interesting game. Hey, From Software, I just gave you an awesome idea for a game. Do that. You're welcome. Give me a check. Whatever you want to give me, I'll take it.
Well, once Dark Souls 3 kind of went super mainstream and sold 10 million copies, then they did Elden Ring. So hopefully Armored Core 6 does well, and then they're going to make your Elden Core.
There you go. Yeah.
Armored Ring?
TM. Armored Ring.
I think Elden Core is better.
Yeah, Elden Core, that's cool. Yeah. TM.
Right? Yeah, don't steal it.
Yeah. What do you like after Armored Core? What are you getting into?
I do want to play Baldur's Gate, but I just need I need the time.
Yeah, I get it. It's the Zelda thing that I had.
It's the Zelda thing, but at least with Zelda, I could hide in my little desk there, from customers, and be like, I'm definitely not oh hey, how you doing? I'm definitely not playing video games on the job. I can't have a PS5 back there, and So it would just bug me. I'd be sitting here all day oh man, I want to play Baldur's Gate. So I need a little bit of time in between. I'll probably pick up some indies that I haven't gotten to. I might get through Blasphemous finally. I've been meaning to go back to it on your recommendation.
That game is so miserable.
Dude, this year though, it's just been
it's insane.
It's insane.
It's insane.
Yeah, this is 5 years of gaming.
It's nuts.
What is going to win Game of the Year this year?
Dude, you know what I just bought the other day? Again, I just bought another game. I'm picking it up this weekend. Tunic.
Oh, yeah.
Someone was talking up Tunic, and then I watched a video on Tunic. I was like, of course I want to play this and try this. So I'm going to buy it this weekend, and it's going to sit on my shelf for a year until I can play it because I've got so much to play. But
right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just yet another amazing game that everyone's talking about that,
yeah.
What are you supposed to do?
It's crazy. Yeah, there's so many, and that's not even going through. Earlier, I was talking about how I'm sorry to admit this. I know it's going to kill my cred, but I haven't played Celeste yet, and it's right up my alley. It's just one of those things that's fallen through the cracks, and you know?
I can't wait for you to play that game.
Yeah, but that's
is
one of those
amazing.
things where I know that you have like the A sides and B sides, like, and the way my brain works, I'm going to be sitting there like, no, I'm just going to be playing Celeste like a year. It's going to be episode 40. I'm going to be like, I finally finished. I'm going to play Baldur's Gate. Like,
That's fine. I'm revisiting Super Mario 3D World right now on the 3DS. Since
Thank you.
I bought a 3DS here at the shop.
yeah.
2 Games Plus. Buy all these things. There's so many awesome things here. But yeah, I beat all of the first game on Super Mario 3D World, and now I just after you beat it, if you collect all the stars, you can unlock Luigi and play the game as Luigi in a whole new set of levels with just as many levels.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I've talked to you about it in the shop, but that is like, we need to have a Mario episode, obviously.
Yeah.
But Super Mario 3D World for the 3DS is arguably top 5 Mario games of all time, I would put it in.
I'm not going to disagree because we're trying to be positive at the end of this this episode, and you might be right. I'd have to think about it, but it's awesome. It's
so
awesome.
good, and it's so challenging.
Yeah, if you haven't played that one, play that one. Yeah. And then you get like the giant mushroom too, right? And you just like stomp through the whole. Yeah.
Oh, no, I think that's New Super Mario Brothers.
Oh, that's the other one.
That's the other one for the DS.
yeah.
Which I also bought here
Yeah,
last week.
that's why I was confused. That one's also really.
That one
cool,
is really
though.
fun too. Yeah, I've been playing
yeah.
that a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel better now.
I do too. I feel like we picked
uplifted.
things back up.
We did. That was good.
Yeah.
'Cause
We got that dopamine hit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just to bring it right back to Blizzard, they managed to get
They
us that dopamine hit in the end.
They should be taking notes on this podcast because
Yeah.
it's how you do it.
All right, folks. So, if you like this episode, even if you didn't like this episode, comment about it. Let us know. Subscribe, like, turn on that notification bell. Do all the YouTube things that you should do that hopefully get us royalties someday and make us cynical and bitter. And you can pay to play, pay to watch. Pay to watch.
That'd be nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. We didn't even talk about Crash Team Racing. Guess we'll have to do it next time.
What are we going to talk about next time?
Who knows? Let us know in the comments. Tell us so we don't have to think
Thinking hard.
hard.
Dopamine hit good.
Play
Thinking hard.
games. Yeah.
All right, guys. We're out of here, I think.
Later, guys.
Later.